finished The Priory of the Orange Tree, and I have a lot of notes, so let's get into it. Okay, so I went to the beach. I fried. I was there from sunup to sundown, and I had this gnarly sunburn. I finally started to peel. This video was taken directly after I took a shower, and my hairline was still peeling aggressively, so enjoy these clips of me where I look like I have aggressive dandruff. Thanks so much for being understanding. Don't be grossed out. It's just my sunburn peeling. Okay, bye. I started reading this book, I would say over 2 months ago, and I just finished it a week ago. I've had some time to sit and marinate in my feelings and my thoughts, in what I hated and what I loved, and I wrote down every single thought that crossed my head in regards to this book. The first bit of this video is going to be spoiler free, so don't freak out. So let's just do a quick review of the book without saying any spoilers, and then at some point we'll get into the spoiler version of this, and then we'll be able to talk one-on-one and share our experience with this book. Would I recommend this book? If you like fantasy, yes. It's not a good book to start off reading fantasy just because the sheer size of it. Is it a 5 out of 5 stars for me? No. 5 out of 5 stars for me means I would reread it, and there's no way in hell. You know how they say the first bit of a fantasy book is basically world building and all that jazz? That's true. That's true. And that's fair. That's fair. But this book, I feel like, rambled on about pointless details. It felt like when you're talking to your friend and they don't know how to tell a story efficiently and they literally sidetrack every 5 seconds to just give you random details that, okay, maybe revolves around the plot of the story, but also there's no point to it. Get to the point. That's why I would not recommend reading this book as your first fantasy book ever, because it drags. I'm gonna be honest. It dragged for me. I did give this book 4 out of 5 stars, I think. Yeah, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, which means it's good, and I really enjoyed it. No joke, for like this much of the book, the beginning of it, I was like, what? After you get past the initial world building of it, the beginning part, you're kind of like, why are we still here? Like, please get to it. Fair. A lot of it in the beginning obviously amounts to the end, but it just felt like it could have been done a little bit more efficiently. If you ask me, this should have been a duology. Now, if this was a duology and I read the first half of this book, I would not have read the second half of this book. And I feel like maybe Samantha knew what she was doing when she printed such a big book and had the stunning cover and was like, oh, fantasy. You got me. You got me. I only picked up this book because of this raving review. It was this guy, I don't remember who it was, and I didn't save it or like it. The way this guy spoke about this book took my breath away, really, and I was like, wow, it's really that good? It was that good. But he didn't talk about the frustrating parts of it. He didn't talk about the parts where it drags. He only highlighted the good, and fair. It has so many good qualities. I know what really caught me off guard in a good way was how she described the food in this book. It had my mouth watering, and I was like, does that exist in real life? Because if so, I'm on my way. I would recommend this book if you like fantasy. If world building doesn't want to make you rip your hair out, you might actually enjoy this book more than I did, because you kind of get that throughout the entire book. But it's honestly, I don't regret reading it. I don't regret reading it, and I give it 4 out of 5 stars. So that's the highest rating I can give before I would say, oh, I would reread this book. Now, does the length of it have some weight in regards to me determining if I would reread it again? Yeah. This took me a long time to read. And okay, sue me, but I have a life. I don't have time to sit here and devour a book this big in one day. There's another book coming out. Apparently it says like its sister book or whatever. I read the blurb online because as soon as I finished this book, I wanted more. It dropped on February 28th, and today actually is March 1st when I'm filming this. So it dropped yesterday. The blurb threw me off. The blurb spoiled a lot of things that in this book were not even foreshadowed. I didn't like that. So I don't think I'll be reading the second book. It doesn't focus and follow the main characters in this book, which really is all I'm here for. Read this book if you so wish to spend a lot of time reading it. Now we're going to get into the spoiler version of this book review, which is going to be very passionate, so don't freak out. I might start yelling, I might not, you know. First, opinion about this book, spoilers, okay? Loth carried the earth on his back. Why did he single-handedly carry out this entire plan on his back? We need a Loth appreciation day, is what I'm trying to say. I feel as though the characters in this book, although everyone did pull their own way, you know, Loth went above and beyond. And you know what I didn't like? I didn't like that I didn't see his happy ending with Miss, you know who I'm talking about. Miss, what's her face? Miss Daddy is the devil, okay? And you know what's gonna, you know, I'll be honest. If I am to read the second book, it's only because I want to know if we'll get more of Loth. I have a crush on Loth. I have a crush on him. I'm obsessed with him. He wasn't praised enough for my liking in this book. I feel like they didn't say thank you enough to Loth. Why did nobody say thank you to Loth? Thank Loth immediately. Also, Ede is God, basically. I don't feel connected to her in a way where I'm like, I get it. I feel connected to her in a way where I'm like, mother. Am I obsessed with her like I am with Loth? No. But would I kiss her on the mouth? Yes. You know what? This one might be neck and neck with Loth. Tanae. I hope I'm saying that right because the accent is over the E. So, Tanae. I would probably do many things that society might not deem acceptable to be able to see Tanae, meet her in real life, thank her for saving the universe. Every single time her chapters came up, I didn't put my book down. Like, sometimes I would peek at who's next. If it was Tanae, I was sitting through whatever I had to sit through to finish that chapter. I was obsessed with following her storyline. Everything about her is perfect. You know what I wish we saw? I wish we saw butt-face guy who cut her on the shoulder. I wish we saw him in shock over the fact that she just saved his... I wanted to see him bow to her. I wanted to see him apologize to her. But you know what? I didn't get that closure. And I'm not very happy with you, Miss Shannon, about that. We need to have a meeting soon. Sabrin is the only worthy being on the earth of being with Ede. In my opinion, I feel as though anyone else would have been a sin. So many times I was like, there's something here. But the way that my brain was so wrapped up in the world, I was like, there's literally no logical way that this could happen legally. So there's no way that it's real. Like, I kept telling myself, like, no way, girl. No way. I'm so happy I was wrong. I'm so happy I was wrong. The first time after the, you know, look at me, I'm blushing. Chasar. I could say many things about Chasar. But the one that I most resonate with is moment of silence for Suso. Moment of silence for Kit. I want an Aralac, and you know what? I have never said these words out loud, so if I'm saying them wrong, I want to pet him. The way that Samantha Shannon described everything was like, I could feel it. Anytime Ede pet him, I was like, I feel how soft Aralac is. Like, I feel it. I hear his voice. Samantha Shannon should write more books, maybe shorter. Oh, Parspa, carried. She deserves a Purple Heart. She deserves the Medal of Honor. She deserves Nobel Peace Prize. Let's get into Niclays. Okay, and sit back for this because I'm about to regurgitate some anger. Every time it followed him, obviously he's like obsessed with Janart. Like, he has no identity whatsoever other than being in love with Janart. So it makes sense that every time we're reading about Niclays, we're reading about Janart. But it got to a point where I was like, can you relax? He's dead. He's dead. Let him rest in peace. Like, oh my god. Every single Janart this, Janart that, Janart wish this, Janart studied that, Janart... Bro, move on. Move on. On top of that, not only is he annoying, he's whiny, he's stupid, he's evil. The way that he literally threatened Tanae, I was about to stop reading the book. It made me so angry. I took it so personally that I was like, no. And you know what's crazy? I know whoever would play him in a real life rendition of this book, in a movie or a show, whatever, the way that Samantha Shannon wrote his character so well and so thoroughly. It made it so believable. Like how evil he was in a way, it was also still humane. So I know anyone that would play him, granted they cast a good actor, would do an amazing job at bringing him to life, because he's already written so well that I'm like, you can't mess it up. You can't mess it up. He is one of the best villains I have ever encountered in reading in a book. He really had me like mad in real life, like for real. I was not having it. There was nothing he did that I was like, fair. Everything he did, I was like, oh my god. And the fact that he got his happy ending, Sousa died. Sousa is dead because of you. I did not like that. Samantha Shannon did mess up a couple times in this book. The first one was not giving Loth his happy ending, his happiest ending, we'll say. The second one is not only creating the character that is Niclays, but giving him a happy ending. No, I need him hanging by his hair. So, as soon as I finished this book, like I said before, I wanted to read the second one. I read the blurb. Here's the blurb. Ready? Tanuva Malim is a sister of the Priory. For 50 years she has trained to slay worms, whatever. But none have appeared since the Nameless One, and the younger generation is starting to question the Priory's purpose. To the north, in the Queendom of Innis, whatever, Sabrin the Ambitious has married the new king of Hroth, narrowly saving both realms. I know, right? Hold on. Narrowly saving both realms from ruin. Their daughter Glorian trails in their shadow exactly where she wants to be. The dragons of the east have slept for centuries. Dumai has spent her life in a Sakinese mountain's temple, trying to wake the gods from their long slumber. Now, someone from her mother's past is coming to upend her fate. When the Dreadmount erupts, bringing with it an age of terror and violence, these women must find the strength to protect humankind from a devastating threat. So, getting the second book obviously would allow for the spines to match up so beautifully. The only thing is, the only version you can order right now is the hardcover. Obviously, it's going to have Sabrin in it. Obviously, it's going to have Eid, because now she's the, what's it called? She's the head of the Priory, okay? So, we're going to see those people. We're going to see their stories. But I don't like, where's Tanae in all this? Where's Loth? Where's Margaret? Okay? And then just like, oh yeah, second book's out. Sabrin's married and has a kid, by the way. So I hope you see my hesitation when it comes to ordering and reading this book, because although I love this book, and honestly, it's one of those things where you look back and it was more good than bad, because during it I was like, oh my god, this is dragging so hard. I'm like, can I sit through another one of these? Okay, that's really all I had. I realized once I opened Pinterest and I started looking for aesthetic pictures, I was just in too deep, and this book took me 2 months to read. So I have a Goodreads reading goal that I want to reach by the end of this year, and doing that was just not going to allow me to move forward. So there's my review of Priory of the Orange Tree. Loved it, hated it, but mainly loved it. What I did love, no matter what, were the characters. Even Niclays, who is just like the devil himself, was a really, really well-written character. So I'm very happy to have been able to meet all of them, and Loth deserved more, and Tanae is my favorite person on earth, and Eid and Sabrin deserve to go to the Milk Lagoon, or whatever that was called, Moon Lagoon, whatever, you get it.